But let's go into the 13 ways that I've got written down for you to reduce your grocery spending. First thing I've got on my list is for you to plan ahead. So plan ahead when you're doing your grocery shop. So when I say plan ahead, what I'm talking about is look in your pantry cupboard, look in your fridge, look in your freezer, even before you leave your house. Make notes of what you've currently got and what else you need to make complete meals. What do I mean by that? Let's say, for example, in the freezer, you find you have some chicken. Okay, you've got chicken. What are you going to eat with that chicken? You probably have rice as well in the food cupboard because those are like staple ingredients. Okay, so what additional ingredients do I need to buy on this week's shop in order to now make that a complete meal? So going through your cupboards and your fridge and your freezer and making notes of what additional ingredients you need to then make a meal will really help you when you then go shopping. So you have a list of things that you want to buy, but not only do you have a list of things, you have a specific list relevant to what you have at home. So you're not just writing a shopping list, going to buy chicken only to get home and find that you've got 3 packets already in the freezer, which I've done on occasions before, so I won't begrudge you for doing the same, but we can learn and grow. So moving forward, it's definitely a good idea to kind of just have a quick look. What's in the fridge? What do I have at home? And what additional items do I now need to make this a complete meal? And what am I going to be eating for the rest of the week or for the whole week? So creating that meal plan for the week will really help you when it comes to saving money on the groceries, because the worst thing you can do, and again, I've been guilty of this is why I'm telling you not to make those same mistakes. The worst thing you can do is go to the grocery store without a clue of what you're buying and just go in on impulse based on what you see, based on the special offers, based on what tickles your fancy. So you're going through the aisles, just looking around and thinking, oh, this looks nice, let me buy that. Because what ends up happening is, number one, you waste a lot of money because you're just buying all these additional items that you probably don't need. And then number two, there ends up being a lot of waste. I don't know about you, but I've done it on occasions in the past where I've gone grocery shopping and just bought things that I've seen that tickle my fancy, but the eyes are bigger than the belly. That's a saying that my mum used to always say. And it's so true. Like, you just see it, you want it, but how much can one person really consume? You can't eat it all anyway. And what ends up happening is you end up wasting a lot of that food. So definitely plan ahead, look in your cupboard, see what you've got and write that list and stick to that list when you go to the stores. The worst thing you can do is be distracted by the special offers that are taking place at the store, because a lot of times some of those special offers are not even the best deal. They may be the best deal on the branded item, but actually you can buy a non-branded item which is just as good for a fraction of that price. Moving on to the next point I have, and I swear by this one, guys, it is to buy generic products. So when I say generic, I mean own brand. So Aldi have their own brand, Tesco, Morrison's, everyone, they all have their own brand of everything you can think of buying. And all it means is when you go to the store, rather than picking up the item that's at eye level, just look down a couple of shelves and you'll find a cheaper alternative of that same item, which will save you a lot more money. So I've put an example on my notes here of Heinz baked beans, and I always talk about Heinz baked beans because I used to be an avid Heinz baked beans eater. So Heinz baked beans eater. Wow, that was a tongue twister. But I used to love Heinz baked beans. Like, literally, that was me. I couldn't eat any other beans. I was a sob when it came to baked beans. However, if you know my debt story, if you don't, look at it, it's on my channel. But I was in a lot of debt, over £36,000 worth of debt. And at that time when we was on our debt-free journey, things like being a brand snob just were not an option for us, because we needed to get as much money as we can free up as much money as we can to pay down that debt. And one of those things that we had to do is look at cheap ways to get food, like cheaper alternatives for our food. So all of that, I only eat Heinz beans. I had to humble myself and buy the Aldi beans. But with that being said, Aldi baked beans, right, are 35p for 1 can or 4 cans for £1. And that price, surprisingly, is still the price now, given that everything else has gone up. They've still got it at £1. Let's see how long that lasts. But for now, I think, yeah, it's 4 for £1, or maybe it's even 3 for £1. Either way, that's the price for the Aldi beans. The Heinz beans in the same Aldi is £3.50 for 4 beans. So that's just one item. If you do that across everything that you buy in your weekly grocery haul, you can quickly see how being a brand snob is going to cost you a fortune. So definitely, if you're one of those people that I only use Colgate toothpaste, I only buy Heinz beans, I only eat Kellogg's cereal, all of that is costing you a fortune. So definitely, where you can, make those brand switches. Now, I'm not saying do it for every single item, because I recognize sometimes you can actually taste the difference and the quality is different for the cheaper alternative versus the branded good. But where you can, try and go for the cheaper alternative. Also, maybe challenge yourself to try it at least before you say, no, I'm not doing that, I'm not buying no value products. Just challenge yourself to just try it, taste it and see. And you might find a lot of times that it tastes the same, or sometimes even maybe better. And then moving on to the next point I have is eat healthier. So I wrote down here that convenience costs, and it is so true. We pay for convenience. Convenience items come at a premium price. So definitely go for healthier alternatives, because the healthier alternatives save you money and save you your health, I guess you can say. So even things like prepackaged fruit and veg. So, like an apple, for example, sliced up into one packet is going to cost you more than if you just brought a whole apple. But if you notice as well, food that is in the packets that's already like pre-cut and things don't taste the same as when you buy the whole item. I don't know what they do to them before they bag them. I guess they do something to keep it fresh in those packets, but the quality is not the same anyway, and you're paying a premium just because you can't be bothered to chop up an apple. It's like literally convenience is just costing you money. And the same thing goes for like meal deals as well. So you've got like, I don't know, ready-made lasagnas or shepherd's pies or pasta bakes. I think everything pretty much comes in a ready meal these days, but just try and avoid them and make your own. It will save you money and it will taste a lot better than the prepackaged or pre-made one could ever taste. Buy produce in season. So when I say produce, I'm talking about your fruits and your vegetables. So some fruit and veg, if you're buying it when it's not in season, comes at a premium price. But when you buy it when it's the season for it, you notice that the prices are a lot lower. So like right now, I've got a list actually of fruits and veg that are in season. So you can make a mental note of these, or I can add it to the comment section below actually afterwards. But fruits currently in season, we've got apricots, blackberries, blueberries, cherries, kiwis, melons, nectarines, peaches and raspberries. Oh, strawberries and tomatoes too. Tomatoes, fruit, believe it or not. But we've got all of those. And then vegetables, at the moment, we've got, oh gosh, I can't say this word, aubergines. I hope I said that right. Aubergines, beetroot, broad beans, broccoli, carrots, celery, courgettes, cucumber, fennel, peas, peppers, potatoes, rocket, sweet corn and watercress. So those are some of the items, or produce rather, right now that you can buy at a cheaper price than you would any other time of the year. So think about these types of lists and use that to kind of plan your meals around it, because that will help you save money as well on your groceries for sure. And also the next one on the topic of produce, actually, I would say don't always buy fresh produce. Listen, I go through these seasons when I'm like, I'm going to be eating clean, I'm going to be eating healthy, I'm going to be so good. And I buy all these packet salads. The week comes, maybe 2-3 days into the week, I still haven't had my salad. My husband's like, are you not going to eat these salads that you brought? I'm like, I'm going to eat it. 5-6 days into the week, I still haven't eaten it. And guess what happens to that packet of salad? It gets wasted, it goes off, and I end up throwing it in the bin and I end up wasting that food. And I know I'm not the only person that does this. I put my hand up. Can you put your hand up too? And say if that is you that does the same, because we have all these good intentions, right? And we're like, I'm going to be good, I'm going to be disciplined, but life happens, you get busy, you go out with your friends, you come home late, you get back late from work, you can't be bothered to eat, and all this fresh produce that you've brought ends up expiring and going off. So instead of buying fresh all the time, what you can do is also buy frozen versions of it, or you can also freeze that fresh produce as well. So actually, one of my friends, finance friends, Yvonne Haduma, I'll link the video in the notes if I remember afterwards. She's got a really good video about how to make your own frozen veg from fresh vegetables. So I'll link that video below, but she basically shows you how to dice it and package it and put it in your freezer so that it doesn't go off and you don't end up wasting your money. So definitely it's worth doing that. Don't just always buy fresh produce if you know you're not going to eat it and then you end up wasting it. So for me, for example, one thing that I do when I'm on my clean eating journey is I'll buy like lemons, for example, because I want to have lemon in my water. And I think it's supposed to be good for your digestion and all the rest of it. But what would end up happening is I would buy that produce, I'll buy those fresh lemons, a fresh packet, I'd cut it in half, squeeze half of it into my water, the other half will go in the fridge and it will stay there until it goes off. But now in Aldi, they sell these packets of cut up lemons and limes in a bag. So I've got that bag and it's lasted me already for like 2 weeks. So I just literally take the slices out and put them in my tea, and then that's that. And that way I don't waste money buying all these fresh lemons and wasting them. I could just use that frozen version and it can just last for a long time. Buy food, yeah, that's close to expiry date. So I know some people hate the idea of that, and once upon a time I was like you. I would not go to that area of Tesco or any of the supermarkets where they have all these yellow sticker items. These are items that are going off that day. But don't be like that. Try it out. Go there. You might find some really good bargain food that you can now take home, put in the freezer, and it can last for a lot longer, because you don't actually have to consume it on that best before date if you freeze it. Even some of those items, to be honest, I've refrigerated them and they've been fine for a couple of days after the expiry date. But I think I have a stronger stomach than most, so maybe don't try that at home. But definitely where you can freeze it, it's worth doing it, because you're going to save yourself a lot of money that way. And this is an important one actually, and that's to check the unit price of the item that you're purchasing. Now, when you go to the supermarkets, they give you the price. I wish I had brought an image actually that I could show you, but just Google it, unit price, and it will show you like the labels for the supermarkets. So you have two prices on those labels, believe it or not. You have the actual price of the item, and then in small print underneath it to the right, you have the unit price of that item. And what you really want to focus on when you're shopping is the unit price and not the main price. And the reason being is that sometimes what you think is a good deal may not actually be a good deal, because yeah, for whatever reason, these stores, they like to trick us and they give us all these fantastic marketing messages. I work in marketing, so I know how it works. And you do this to trick the consumer into thinking that they're getting a good deal, because somehow it's the psychology behind it. They make you think you're getting a good deal. You're more likely to buy it. When there's an offer to be had, we think it's great and we buy it. So even the other day, Amazon Prime, they were doing Prime Day deals. A lot of those deals were not actually deals. Those same item that they went to go and put that yellow label next to saying Prime Day deal 2 weeks before was for that same discounted price or very close to it. But what they do is they gloss it up with their 50% reduction, 40% reduction since like yesterday. And then you think that you've got a fantastic deal and you're more likely to buy, and you're more likely to buy more. I know I fall for it all the time. As much as I say I work in marketing, I'm still a sucker for a good deal. So tell me it's 50% off and I'm more likely to look at it than if it was just at that price to begin with, if that makes sense. So definitely look at the unit price, because that shows you the price you're paying for 1 unit of that item. So where the price may be like, I don't know, £5, but the unit price is 50p for one item, whereas the next one might be 25p for 1 unit of the item. So even though it might have a more expensive label price, actually the unit price that is lower is what you really want to focus on. Next up on the list, I have buying in bulk. Now this one I'm going to put a caveat on, because actually sometimes not all bulk items are the better deal. So again, going back to the point I made earlier or a moment ago, you do really want to look at the unit price of those items to make sure that in bulk you're still getting the best deal. But when you go to places like Costco, Macro, Booker, if you can get the membership cards for those places, you can generally get a better discount on bulk purchases at those places than you would if you're buying those same items in a supermarket. So I like to quarterly go to Costco to get those items in bulk that I wouldn't be able to get, or that I could get at a supermarket but I use frequently. It's cheaper to buy it in bulk at Macro, if that makes sense. I mean Costco, sorry, if that makes sense. So the next one I've got for you is to try a budget challenge. So budget. I talk about budgets all the time on this channel, but I think one thing that can really help you to reduce your expenses when it comes to groceries, especially during these times of the cost of living crisis, is to try a budget challenge. Now, what do I mean by a budget challenge? What I mean is challenge yourself to spend less than you ordinarily would on your groceries. So if you've been tracking your expenses for the past month and you're seeing that on average you're spending £80 a week on groceries, challenge yourself to spend £70, and you'll be surprised at what you're able to come up with when you start being creative, like thinking outside of the box. Suddenly you find ways to make savings and get the same meal and the same outcome for less. So I think definitely challenge yourself to do it, and make it a fun challenge for yourself. Like, how much can I reduce my grocery bill by this week. So rather than spending £80, I'm going to spend £70. How am I going to make it happen? Things like going to the store cupboard, like I mentioned earlier, and making a list and brand swapping and all these things that we've discussed so far on this live. Just putting a few of them into action as you're grocery shopping over the next few weeks, you'll see how much money you're able to save and reduce your grocery spend by just by trying them out. Next up, I have for all my, is it carnivores? That's what you call them, people that eat meat, right? For all my meat lovers, try meatless meals. So if you're used to eating meat every single day, so I'm talking chicken, fish, meat, whatever, every single day with your meals, literally skipping meat maybe 1, 2, 3 meals a week is going to save you so much money. Because if you look at your receipt when you go grocery shopping and you buy meat, you're going to see that that is one of the biggest expenses that you have on your shopping list. So just buy one meal, skipping chicken, skipping the meat, especially red meat, you're going to save yourself so much money on your grocery shop. So yes, I know, I don't know about you actually, but I know for me, I grew up eating meat with every meal. So it's like the meal's almost incomplete if there's no meat on the plate. But training yourself and learning that habit of not eating meat with every single meal is going to save you so much money in the long run on your groceries. So yes, I said it, go meat free. I'm not telling you to become a vegan, but just try a couple of vegan meals a week in that meal plan, and you're going to be surprised at how much you're able to cut your grocery costs by. And next up, I'm going to say, okay, this is something that I do sometimes, especially when my budget gets out of control, or like I'm noticing that my grocery budget I've been going over, is tallying up what I'm spending as I'm going through the store. So literally just on your phone, use a calculator, and as you're putting things in your basket, type them in on the calculator. Yes, you might look like a mad person in the store, and people might be giving you the side eye as you're walking through the aisles, but it really does help you curb your spending while you're at the grocery store, because when you're deep in or really processing how much certain items are costing you, you sometimes think twice about putting it in your basket. And also it helps you to know exactly how much you're spending. So when you get to your cap, that £70 that you're challenging yourself to stick to, then you stop putting items in your basket. Another thing that's going to help you actually, which I'll throw in here for free, is to take cash on those shopping trips. Yes, you remember money, that thing with the Queen's head that we used to use once upon a time to spend and buy things. I know money is like, you never see it these days, right? But I think if you're really struggling with keeping on top of your grocery spending and you really want to keep those costs low, then definitely try going shopping with money, physical or tangible money, while stores still accept it actually, because I know they're really trying to move away from cash, and we've got all of these cashless tills in the supermarkets and everything else. But at least for now, while they are still accepting cash, definitely try it out, take cash, tally up what you're buying as you're going through the store, and you'll see that that will help you stick to that grocery budget. To cook in bulk. So bulk cooking, batch cooking, when you're making your meals, make double the portion and save some of it. You can either freeze it so that you can have it at a later date for maybe the next week or even 2-3 weeks in the future, or you can save some of it for lunch the next day. So rather than eating out or buying lunch while you're out at work during the week, you can eat those meals that you had prepared the night before. So batch cooking, bulk cooking will definitely save you so much money, because you've already bought those items. Just buying a few more of them and making the big meal, it's going to save you money, and it's also going to save you time. So it's kind of a win-win situation doing it. Yes, it might be time consuming initially to do that batch cooking, but fast forward a month of doing this and you're going to be so happy when you look at your freezer and you have like literally a month's worth of food stocked up there ready to go and get you through the next month's worth of days.